Hi everyone, I'm Max, and I lead the various teams who design systems and core game mechanics within VALORANT. As we head into Act 3 of Season 2026, I wanted to take a minute to check in on a few areas of the game that we know you all care about very much. We've seen a lot of healthy conversation from the community about things like the state of the meta, our ranked and MMR systems, player behavior systems, and our approach to limited time modes. So I want to jump into some of that now before I hand it over to Armand, Dan, and Tiffy to chat about modes and live balance. First things first, the competitive experience. Our goal is straightforward. Your rank should be a clear reflection of your skill, and the journey to get there should feel fair. We're going to be more proactive about testing and refining different approaches to matchmaking so we can land on a system that truly delivers on that promise. For example, in January, we made updates to our MMR system to better account for individual impacted matches. We're seeing some positive results here, especially around match quality. Games are less one-sided, and we're seeing more even contribution across players in the lobby. At the same time, some of the trade-offs have been pretty clear. We've heard your feedback around visible rank differences in matches, and the feeling that RR losses can outweigh RR gains. In some cases, we've also let some tuning exist in-game longer than we should have while we evaluated the results. One area we've been focusing on is making sure your effort in each match feels properly reflected in your rank. When that doesn't happen, it can feel like the system isn't respecting your performance. To address this, we recently adjusted how RR gains and losses are calculated so that strong performances are rewarded more, weaker ones cost more, and over time, your wins and losses should feel like they balance out appropriately. We want to be more direct about how we're approaching competitive overall. Matchmaking and ranked integrity are a major focus for us this year, and that means we're going to keep iterating. Ultimately, your rank needs to reflect your skill, and getting there should feel fair, consistent, and worth the effort. Now, to talk about the top of the leaderboard, we've heard the feedback from Immortal Plus around recent changes to our RR thresholds. We want the battle for a spot on the Radiant ladder to be the pinnacle of competition and a reflection of performance, not just pure grind. Additionally, we need to ensure competitive integrity to know that performance is legit on these ladders. In the short term, we've been investing more into anti-cheat and win trading detection methods to make sure the players at the top really deserve to be there. We've already taken action this year on some of the most egregious win traders, and we'll continue to do so routinely. But longer term, we're looking at improvements to make earning Radiant act over act more worth it than it is today. And not just with systemic improvements, we're also working on specialized rewards for climbing to the very top. All right, now speaking of rewards, let's talk about ranked rewards for all players. I'm happy to confirm that the V26 Act 3 and Act 6 ranked gun buddies this year will be the last time a gun buddy is your primary reward. And in 2027, you won't need to wait until Act 3 to get your new reward. The next version of our ranked rewards will be distributed on day 1 of Season 2027, and will be an item that evolves with you throughout your ranked journey for the entire year. Yes, we originally hoped to get you all new ranked rewards this year, but we're taking a little more time to make sure we get them right. We'll share more on what you can expect from ranked rewards in September. We want you to feel recognized for your dedication and growth every single act you play. So there's a lot more we're bringing to the ranked experience that you'll see in-game closer to champs. Competitive queue is the reason the vast majority of you play VALORANT. So we're investing heavily to make every aspect of our in-game systems paint a more complete picture of your ranked journey while giving you the tools you need to improve and flex your mastery. Now, I'm going to hand things over to Armand to talk about our plans for modes.
Since the end of 2025, we've been experimenting with new, limited-time game modes to learn more about what you love and what you don't. And so far, we've been excited by what excites all of you. You all loved Skirmish and Customs, so we brought it to the queue. And when we took it away, you let us know that you weren't ready to say goodbye. So we brought it back. And then we added a new flavor of Skirmish with an experimental rank ladder. And that's just Skirmish. We also have plans to keep iterating and tinkering with other modes like Knockout, All Random One Site, and even an old fan favorite. We hear all of you replication fans out there in the comments. So I'm happy to share that we're currently working on a new mode that blends replication with all random one site. We think it'll give you the off-the-wall moments that you all enjoyed about replication at an even higher frequency. Replication is a mode that's all about fun factor and hilarious interactions, and we think all random one site creates those moments more frequently due to more ults, more abilities, and getting different agents every round, all on a single site. After that, we've got plans for a new take on a spike mode that'll put your skills to the test with shortened rounds and smaller teams. You'll see more on this in a few weeks when Act 4 starts. And we might even have one more surprise up our sleeve for Act 5. Think KO combat simulation gone haywire. I'll leave it at that for now. Just know that it's super fun and super different from anything we've done so far, and we think you're gonna love it. You'll hear more from me and the team about that in September. As always, keep the feedback coming. Now, over to Dan and Tiffy to chat more about live balance.
Hi everyone!
Hey gamers!
All right, let's talk game balance. We're gonna walk you all through what we've been seeing since our larger set of changes that we shipped late last year and go into why we're making some of the updates you're going to see this year.
At a more philosophical level, all of our changes are aimed at supporting the different layers of decisions you make within VALORANT.
For VALORANT, the core game needs to support things like different team compositions, a variety of attacker and defender strategies, and keep a mechanically deep and sound combat system.
So, when we make a change to an agent, map, or weapon, it's usually because one of those layers of decisions is no longer impactful, interesting to engage with, or relevant.
Toward the end of last year, we rebalanced a huge chunk of the roster to keep in-the-moment combat decisions easier to process and highlight the importance of gunplay.
And while we're largely happy with where we've landed there directionally, that said, we do think those updates affected round-over-round strategy and team play iteration a little bit more than we would have liked for the long term.
Moving cooldowns above 40 seconds has allowed us to get cleaner fights later in the round, so that in clutch moments you have fewer variables to account for. But at 60 seconds, this change hasn't allowed as much room for teams to adapt their strategies each round. So with patch 13.0, we'll be tuning down the increased cooldown on signature abilities for initiators a little bit, from 60 to 50 seconds.
And on the weapons front, we're currently looking to ship some buffs for the Bandit in 13.0. These are intended to make it a little bit more of a viable option outside of pistol rounds, similar to the Sheriff. Now, onto specific agents. To start the year, we targeted a few that were pushing things a little bit out of our boundaries.
Yoru was doing too much on his own, especially with how quickly he could rotate, which made Sentinels like Vito less appealing. And Clove, they were crowding out the controller space, particularly in ranked, having too much impact on spike sites after death.
And Whaley was getting away with a little bit too much for her team, with minimal planning, commitment, or risk to herself.
We've pulled them back in recent patches, and they're in healthier spots. We're also seeing better pick diversity overall, and we think keeping agents unique is key to sustaining long-term diversity.
Which brings us to Neon.
At the time of filming, many of the changes that Dan and Tiffy talk about in this section were originally scheduled to come out a little over a month from now with patch 13.0. We wanted to take some extra time to test these changes because we believe Neon, shotguns, and weaker Sentinels are all wrapped up into one problem space, and also to make sure that any of our changes maintain Neon's ability to zip across the ground at lightning speed. But honestly, we've been feeling the shotgun-wielding Neons in our own games, and we're hearing it loud and clear from all of you. So, we're bringing you these changes today, even if they're a little rougher around the edges. To correct the information shared in the video, you might notice some subtle vocal overdubs and visual cues. We apologize for the inconvenience.
We've seen a lot of talk and discussion about Neon lately, and while we agree Neon can be hard to deal with and frustrating at times, we also know that not everyone in the game is able to lock in with her and turn into Danby.
We think Neon's role in breaking timings and creating pressure is correct, but right now, her movement and evasiveness push too far in our combat space. So, we've got some changes in
Today,
to bring her back in line.
Right now, we're looking specifically at how Neon takes space around the map. Her mobility and speed while bunny hopping aren't really hitting our bar for tactical combat in VALORANT. You can expect to see changes that will affect Neon's evasiveness while keeping her ability to shoot and slide. We're mostly just looking to add some additional counterplay for Neon's opponents.
In addition to this, we're also shipping some changes to shotguns
Today,
that target their effectiveness while moving and jumping. So you'll have to work a little harder to pull off those kinds of kills versus playing with them defensively and hunkering down.
on the other side of things, we're also looking closely at our Sentinels. Stalling should be a reliable tool, not a situational one. Sentinels should be a clear answer to fast and explosive team compositions.
Stalling abilities have an important purpose in the game. They allow players to reallocate the resources around the map to force a more strategic thinking, forcing even the most mechanically gifted players, like Dan, to engage in round strategy is part of the tactical loop.
So, in patch 13.0, we're also making a few changes to some Sentinels we feel need a little bit of love. As just one example, Vito will be getting some updates to help solidify his rotational power and his ability to disrupt sight hits with Interceptor.
We'll continue to monitor how these changes play out across skill levels, and you'll hear from us again throughout the year in patch notes and videos just like these.
Now, back to Max.
Before we go, we also mentioned at the start of the year that we were working on a way for you all to share your replay files with your friends. That feature is coming in patch 12.10. Now, when you click on a friend's profile and view their match history, you'll see a new button to download and view their replay. Let the VOD reviews begin. Okay, that was a lot, but don't worry, you can expect to hear a lot more from us throughout the rest of the year. Keep an eye out for the dev team at our different VCT events, on creator content, in the comments and replies online, and most definitely with another dev update closer to champs. We've got some pretty sweet stuff to share that we're hyped about, and we'll be back in early September to let you in on all the fun. Happy gaming, y'all.